Hello everybody, this is JackB1024 and welcome to episode 22 of our dynamic factory. So between the episodes, I redid the layout for our FIFO queues so that we can now have medium electric poles running between them. In fact, I might even add some lights because it gets kind of dark at night. So we've got medium electric poles running between certain lines just to give us enough power, and making sure that all our connections still exist. So I believe everything's still there, and when we start adding signals to it, that'll be a great test to make sure that everything's still working as expected. I also added our second FIFO queue so that we now have one for demand and one for supply. Cool. So that's that done. So for this episode, we're going to start dealing with adding items to our FIFO queue and getting items out of our FIFO queue and being able to process them. So let us get started. Now, we connected, last episode, we connected this train line's output to this red and green shed line here, which is what we're currently using to read from all the stations. So this station's connected to it, and well, every station's connected to it, and it's going to this old, very simple combinator network that is controlling this train. Now, I want to keep that running. Actually, let's see if this is still processing stuff. Yeah, it is, though it'll probably be out of iron ore soon. But that's okay. So this is still running, and I don't really want to interrupt it too much while we get this all set up. So the first thing I'm going to do, and this is only for the moment while we need to have this set up like this, is we're going to get our red line, which should be the shed line. Oh, we need actually two things, now that I think about it. So we need to get our green line. We need more green, circle-wise. And if everything that's greater than 1, and that's a tainted signal, so let them out, make them a value of 1. We'll do our normal removing of these signals. So times them by minus 2 billion, and then only let signals greater than 0 through. That means we need a 2-tick delay. So just the normal 2-tick delay. Hook it up with the red. Oop, to there. Copy that across. Okay, so we've got our 2-tick delay, and we've got our 2-tick selective cancelling. So that means everything that's coming out this end is a signal that we got a value for, and only one station told us about it. Now, obviously, because we're using the old system, this coal line actually has enough coal to send us stuff, so it's sending us a coal signal of, I think it sends us 1, and then if we require it, this thing will stop sending its -1. So what we're going to do is we're going to filter out those signals we don't need. So we'll get all our outputs, and because every single station that's set up with our new system will have, as part of it, it'll have the station ID being sent through. Remember, it's 128 times the station ID plus different numbers depending on inputs and outputs. So we know that for each signal that's greater than 127, so that is if it's, in fact I could just say greater than or equal to 128 to make it a bit more clear. So if it's giving us a station number, then we'll output it. And so that gets rid of our coal signal, but will mean that our iron signal will go through. So that's good. So let's take this and we'll take it over here. And here's where we'll do our next step of processing. So we've got our two FIFOs. We'll do the one on the left can be, actually, do I have some bricks? I want to get some bricks just so I can lay down a very rudimentary letter to tell me which one's the supplier and which one's the demander. Let's see if we've got a good number of bricks. That should be enough. Just in case, I come back to this later and I've forgotten which one's meant to be telling me supplies and which one's telling me demands. Though, it most likely doesn't matter too much. It'll matter for the next step. So, it'll matter when we're reading to make sure that we're first send the train to the supplier and then to the demander. So, we'll set this one. Just make this single tile. Where's a good place to write it? Maybe it's just here. Okay, that works. So we've got an S for supply, and I'll put over here a D for demand. Like that. Supply and demand. This one looks taller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a bit odd, but okay. So, now any supplier will have the 64-bit set. So what we're going to do, we're going to go, now we want to use an arithmetic for this. We want to go each thing and it with the 64-bit and output it. That goes there. So all the ones that output from here are valid. So we output the value, we want to then get each of those values and just make them 1. Then multiply them by -2 billion, so our normal filtering system. At the same time, we'll need a delay. So at this point, any that are less than 0 are ones we want to keep. So we can combine them into here. For each thing less than 0, output it. And then finally, facing that direction, we will add 2 billion. That gets us our original signal back. So now we know that this is good to add to our system. And that gets added on the green line over here. So there we go. That's our system that can take it input and it will add any that are supplies. At the same time, we want a system to work with demands. So simple enough, it's basically the exact same layout. Just get a blank one here. Where will I put it? Let's put it. Actually, wait. I had a better idea. We'll do it like this. I might move these around to lay it up a bit better later. But any that are greater than 0 mean they're ones that the 64-bit wasn't set. So they're supplies. So instead of redoing the whole circuit, we can just borrow the same thing. We don't need to add 64 this time. We don't need to add several billion. So what we'll do instead, we'll run this on the red line over to the same sort of spot. This time we'll put it into just a, no, that was not what I wanted. Put this one into a simple 1 tick delay, just so that it's at the exact same time as the other one. These don't need to be tick perfect, but might as well make them tick perfect. And so then that can go in the green line. That way I don't need to run a second line of poles to get this signal across. So there we go. So values that have a 64-bit set will be added to this queue, which will be added to this FIFO, and values that don't have a 64-bit set will be added to this queue, which will be added to this FIFO. And I'm just making sure this all looks set up correct, and it does. So let's go test this out. How's our radar coverage here? Where's our radar dish? Might have actually got rid of it. So I'll put down a new one. This way we can see this from further away. So what we're going to do is we'll drive up to our iron mine. I'll set it up so that it sends a new signal down here, and we'll see if it went through. Because obviously the signal will be sent basically instantly, we're not going to get an easy way to see if it goes through perfectly, but what we can do is check. I do not see any lights set. Okay, that is annoying. Okay, I know what I'll do. No, I want 2 decider combinators, and I want a constant combinator. What we'll do is we'll add a clock, make it a second long clock. We'll just make this red, why not? And every second this clock will reset this SR latch, thus making it so that basically every second it'll send a new request. Not to that side, to that side. Perfect. So if red is 0, output a reset signal. Okay, so about every second you can see that it's trying to send off a new request. That way we can drive down and know that we're going to get a request while we're down here. Okay, let's see where our request is going. I don't see a signal here. I do see it flashing up over here. Okay, let's see. Anything greater than 1, output it, multiply it. Anything greater than 0. That seems to be outputting a signal value of 1. That's not the value it should be sending. Where is it? Runs up here. I don't think I can actually see. Okay, you're sending a 1, that's fine. What we want is we want to see what this red line is sending. What's coming out of here? That's got a value of 1. Why has that got a value of 1? That outputs 320. We probably have something wrong with our pulse generator. If we're getting a value of 1, I might have accidentally clicked the send through a value of 1 instead of sending through the input value, the pulse generator. I wish I had night vision stuff. Here we go. No, it should be sending out the input count. That looks fine. Any that are greater than 0. Ooh. Oh yeah, I see what the issue is. So that's meant to set this up to tell us that we're sending a signal, but we never set it up to send the correct signal. So there we go. And now if we quickly zoom down, don't see them getting set to a value. That looks like it's getting through 320, yep. That's outputting 320. That's getting a signal in. That's working. It's getting a signal in. Oh, I see it here. Why is it not transferring up properly? Oh, I know what the issue is. I actually saw this between episodes and forgot to fix it. The issue is that our clock is currently disabled. And that basically means, as you can see, this light is permanently on, so it's constantly trying to write the value to the next line. So let's turn our clock on so it's not constantly trying to do it. Red is 0. Yep, there should be an extra combinator here. Where on earth did that connect between? So disconnect that, connect you to the input, connect you to the output. This one clears it, so if red is 0, yep, send out a single value for red. Is our tick speed wrong? Let's just slow the clock down massively. These aren't set up correctly, I can see that. So the output should be going to the next one's input. So I did at least miss something. And I was fixing up the size. It looks like this one's getting set. Input signal. Okay, they got negative input signals. Let's reset all our input signals. That did not reset them. That's not connected. That looks better. Okay, so and I didn't want the bottom one connected because of timing. Okay, it looks like the bottom two need to be disconnected now. Why do you think you can do that? That connection's there. Why is it not there on the very top line? That's odd. Connect that back up. Okay, reset everything. And now we should see. There we go. So, we finally fixed all that up. Now let's do the same fixes to this circuit over here, because it's identical, so actually the easiest way to do the exact same fixes, because they are identical, just get, that should be the exact amount we need. And we're actually going to have to disconnect that. And we'll have to give it a decider combinator so that it can actually place that one down. But good, that'll be our FIFO queues up and running. So we get in the car. Yep, and I'll go up here and I'll turn off this clock because we don't need it anymore. Good. Now I should still have the circuit for that in this book. Yes. That's good, because we're going to use that circuit down at our iron input so that we can set up our input for the iron mine. I don't really need you flashing all the time anymore. And we'll do that. How are we going? Good on time. Took a little bit longer though, fix up than I thought it would, but we're still fine. So when I cross a railway track without looking, what's the worst that can happen? Now, where do we want this circuit to be? I think you autosave always at the exact time I need you. I think up here will work for the moment. See what we're missing. Okay. Looks like I'm going to need some more arithmetic combinators. I also want some more medium electric poles. So we'll craft a bunch more arithmetic combinators, maybe even make a bunch of decider combinators, so we can always do with some more of them, pick up some more circuits, and even more. Then we'll head back. Oh yeah, and our research finished like just before I started this episode. But I don't think there's any new research that we really need, or that will be useful. No, so we'll wait for that. About there, there, get rid of that, there. Okay, that looks like that is all set up fine. You are complaining about not having a repair pack. And we want not too many. Take them back. Okay, so this will be our requester. You don't do anything important. Good. Our green and red lines need to connect up here. There's our red line. There's our green line. Okay, so in this case, go to them. You think you want to send something? Oh, I see why. Put this here. Add 0. That way I can just connect this up and not have to worry about that being done incorrectly. Okay, good. Apparently everything's been sent. So in this case what we want to know is, do we not have enough iron ore, which we don't at the moment. In those cases we should do a request, and we'll do the same SR latch as we did last time. Now eventually that's going to have to change because, you know, these stations are dynamic, so we need to check are there any resources we're missing, and we'll send a request for those resources. But at the moment this will work fine. So let's start with our SR latch. So S is greater than R, send out a value of S of 1. And we will reset when a train goes by. Which actually means I want some large electric poles just so I can send the signal the whole distance. There we go. Read stop train, read it as T, that'll work for the moment. I cannot think of a reason why we would ever send one of those generic signals, but you know, there might be a reason eventually. Pulse generator, to there, to there, to there. Everything times -1, output everything. I will get around to just making a blueprint for these pulse generators. No, I want you to be an arithmetical meter. And you just get the RT value and change it to a reset value. And we'll put the input on the red side. So there we go, there's our reset done for our SR latch. And the next thing we want is if this has less iron ore than, here we'll make it a train's worth. Yeah, we'll make it a train's worth. 12,000. Output the red signal or the green signal. We'll go red. To say we want you to run. Connect you to there. Connect that up. And that up. And this will say if S is 0, so we're not set, send out our red signal, which should be 1. There we go. Good. And lastly, we want something like this. Red's greater than 0, output our iron ore signal, and at the same time we will output the set signal. Red's greater than 0, put S with a value of 1. Cool, that's it. What's our iron ore number for this station? This is 4, so let's just pop open calculator again. It's 128 times the station number plus 63 because we're not outputting, but we're inputting on all lines, so 575. Let's get out of map mode, there we go. Iron ore 575. And that has to go to this combinator over here. So yeah, it looks like I can easily just connect that to, you're not connected to anything, nope, to there and then to there. Now that's not going to output because our set thing is set, so let us reset it. I'll add a manual resetter here. I'll just give this a T signal, turn it on. And now if we look over here, it did not seem to set our destination. Okay, it's flashing through that it's sending it. Now the red's on this line, which is connected to here. It should be connected to the main line, it is. Yeah, we've got no other signals tainting that line. Okay, let's do our normal. Every second we'll send a reset signal. So every second, pretend that there's a train there. Do a 60 tick clock. And this all up. Red to there, red to there, red to there. Power. Good. Okay, let's have a look at what's going on over here. Yeah, yeah, okay, it's coming through 500 and something. 500 and something. That is outputting the value. it's outputting the value. Okay. I'll get in the car and I'll quickly drive over there. I mean, it's pretty close, but I don't want to leave the car somewhere. I'd forget where it was. 2 medium poles just sitting in the middle of nowhere. Now, one thing that we didn't do is we didn't do that. There we go. Look at that. That was our fix. So I seem to just always get everything at the exact right time that the signal comes through right at the start. Which, given there's like a, what, 20% chance of that, it's a 1 in 5 chance. I guess it works with any of the first two, so. That works. We can turn off our timer now because we know this all works. And yeah, turn it off. I wish you could remotely control like constant combinators. You can't, can you? No. It'd be nice to be able to just be like, turn this one on and then off, and then turn this one on and off, just so that I can get everything set up to be in running order without having to drive around everywhere to do it. But then once it's all set up and in running order, so now that that's set up, we never need to worry about it again. Forgot to stop my car. That's not what I wanted to turn on. This one. So with this, how are we going for time? We're about half an hour in. We've got both our FIFO queues set up. We've got our selective import inputting into either the left or the right FIFO queue. We've got both our train stations for our iron ore set up. So what I still want to do, where's our train thing? Here it is, it goes into there. So do the same thing we do at the other station where I can just do that to turn it on. So we should have a single signal. Yep, perfect. And I'll go to the other station and I'll send a single signal, and our FIFO queues will be set up just as they would be if we had a train station that could supply stuff and a different station demanding it. So yeah, I think I'll keep going for a bit, just so that I can set up the control circuitry. I'm not sure exactly how long that'll take. That was the timer. I wanted to actually turn on this one. Fortunately, I didn't actually turn the timer on for long enough for it to mess around with our FIFO queue. Now, there is one thing I have thought of that could be a bug in our FIFO queue, and it did actually run for long enough. That's fine, whatever, I'll manually fix it. Where's our memory cell? Boom, fixed. Okay, so there is one thing I thought of that could be an issue in the future, and that is the fact that we're using a single line for both our inputs on both our queues means that it could be possible that, say, this FIFO queue filled up all the way to here, which is the spot at which we basically tell it, okay, don't accept these signals anymore, because if we do it, it might taint the signals we already have. So if it fills up that much, it won't let any more, say, iron ore signals through. Now the issue is, what if this fills up to there while this one is empty? Which, if it's filled up to there, this one should be empty, because otherwise they should be both getting drawn from. In that case, even if we have a demand, say, because there's a supply line, let's say a demand came in for iron ore, it would get blocked because this one's saying, oh, don't send any more iron ore signals because we've filled up the supply FIFO queue. So I might need to run two different lines, one for the supply, one for the demand, or yeah, I think I might need to do that. That might be the only way to get around that. This one's not connected. That's why that happened. Okay, that makes sense now. So it wasn't bad timing, it was the fact that the queue on the right isn't hooked into this line. So now that that's flashing, good. That's getting a signal. So what we're going to do is we're going to have two different lines. So where's our memory cell? Our memory cell is here. Now the timer could really go between the two or something, but I'll leave it where it is. So we'll put one there and one there. And make a bunch more red wires while we wait. While we do this. Yeah, that looks fine being there. Now our other memory cell line is here. So do something like that. Connect to there, to there. This one's on the top line, and on the bottom line we have this one. And yes. You don't have a value because I didn't hook you in. Probably didn't hook the other one in either. Oh, I did. Good. Perfect. Now... oh, we could put the control circuit here. Not even down here. We could just put it to the side here. I mean, both of our lines are already up here. So... I see no issue with that. Do this, you connect to the top one, you connect to the bottom, good. So they should be different values, which they are. There. We'll just do that. I think that should be a fine spot for us to set up the control circuitry. So, what do we want? Well, the first thing we want to know is we want to know, have we got the same signal on both FIFO queues? So that's easy enough to do. What we'll do is we'll take one queue to this one queue to this one, and we'll just do a simple, for each thing, make it a value of a 1. Then all we have to do, get our two outputs, come up to this, and for each thing that is equal to 2, let it through, make it a value of 1. Then we'll do our normal, we've got a value of 1, so multiply it by minus 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And output that. So there we go. These will output the signals that we are fine with using. Now, we want everything in sync, so yeah, that works. And we'll keep the top row and the bottom row lined up. I actually think I'm going to hook it that way just so it's slightly easier to see how they're hooked up. Instead of running them all over each other, and it's harder to see which lines are connected where. Where's a... there. 1 tick delay. Okay, so at this point we know that, so... yeah, put it like that. And put these that way. Green wire can connect up here, and these will only let values less than 0 through. And then we need to add 2 billion back to both of these values so that we know what they actually are. So where's our subtractor? Oh, you just minus. Okay, yeah. Oh, you're not set up correctly. Okay, there we go. Input, output, 575, 320, good. So, Now I need to remember which line's which. So the top is demand, bottom is supply. Well, let's just mark that out again. Demand and supply. Okay, so we want our train to go to the supply line and we want it to come back on the demand line. So the next thing we're going to need is we're going to need a way to look up our train IDs. We're going to need we're basically going to need a memory bank that works more like a dictionary than a memory bank. But we're also going to need to do something that's really annoying. So at this point we know there's actually one more thing therefore that we need from here. Do I do it from here? See, one of the issues that I'm thinking of, let's say we had both copper and iron ore signals on both of these lines, right? So we want to send a train to the copper ore mine and we want to send a train to the iron ore mine to go to copper smelting and iron smelting. Well, we can only send one train at a time. So what we have to do is we have to go, well, with all the signals we've got, which signal are we going to send first? Now we want everything to be, for this thing we want it to be quick, like a single tick would be perfect. But it's kind of annoying trying to figure out how to do that nicely. The only way I can think of is the way that I kind of dislike doing. So basically what we're going to do, just start with a row to begin with, like this, and we go if everything is greater than or equal to, if everything's greater than or equal to iron ore, output the iron ore. Then if everything's greater or equal to copper ore, output copper ore. Iron plate, copper plate, copper plate. What else do we have? Iron gears, and red signs. They're the signals we're going to have to really deal with right now. Right, so the way this works is that if we now connect all the outputs, okay, this only takes one tick because we've only got one combinator, they're all in parallel, and it will return us only the signal that has the lowest value. Now, I mean, it's kind of an arbitrary way to choose which one, but it's a single tick way to choose which one. You know, if we did a priority like, oh, we want iron ore to come first, then this to come second, it would be a much more complex circuit. That's why it's only one thing. And the chance of having two signals with the same value should be 0, because the value is station number times 128 plus, you know, output and input binary decoded bits, or encoded bits I should actually say, not decoded. And you're not going to have, you know, station 1 both being able to supply iron ore on all carriages as well as copper ore on all carriages. It can only supply one thing. Or you can't have, you know, station 4 say requesting copper ore, iron ore on all chests and requesting copper ore on all chests. If it requests two things, then we've partitioned maybe the first 3 carriages are iron ore and the second 3 are copper ore. It won't be all 6 are both of them. So no value should be the same. So that should work. Same time, we need to keep this one kind of in sync. Not with that one, with this one. So this is in sync again. And what we're going to do So this gives us both a value as well as the signal type. So yeah, we'll do it like this. We'll just pass the value through, that's fine. But on the other side, we will get our signal and convert it to a value of 1. And we'll do the same thing we do over here, where we get rid of it. So multiply it by minus 2 million, 2-tick delay. And so at this point in time, we can know only let signals less than 0. That's the one signal we're letting through. And then again, add 2 billion to it. While we wait for that, this can just be, yep, that setup. Yeah, you get the same input and you just pass it through. So now at the end, I mean, for this setup, there's no difference. But if we had copper ore in there as well, and it was a higher station, out of here we'd be getting iron and copper signals. Out of here we're only getting iron ore signals because it's the lower value. Now I don't really want to build over this uranium ore here, but that's fine because this is basically set up to the exact size that it needs to be. I don't see, no, actually you're going to have to be extended. Can I fit what I need in here? Possibly. So what we need, let's go over here so I can show you the odd circuits that we've made. So if you remember the old sort of memory cell circuits that are like a table, I guess. You know, this is index 0, more of an array. Index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so on. And we've got this -8 value that we use to index our array of memory cells. What we're going to have to do is make basically a dictionary instead of an array, or a dictionary sort of thing. So what we'll do is that each memory cell will have two things. It'll have an index in the array. So let's think. So it's more like a looped array that can be read like a dictionary, I guess would be the easiest way to explain it. So what we'll have is we'll have our array of memory cells that will have an index. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when we write a value to it, we don't just write, you know, this has the value of iron ore is 20. It also will have this line, this row of our array will be given the dictionary key of, say, train number 20. So what I want to do is, and I showed it I think in episode 18 or 19, but you can read the train ID. So this is outputting it to there. Yep, so this is train number 20. So what I want to store in this array over here will be not only the final destination of the train, so we've got our supplier and our demander, so we'll store our demand station in here, but we also want to store our train number. And then this array can basically have, on its input side, adding items to it. We'll say, okay, on the next free slot, tell it that train 20 is going to end up at destination 4, which is where our train would be going. And then when our train gets to our iron mine and is like, okay, where's the next step? It can send a request down to here saying, okay, I've got train 20, where should I go? And this thing can just look up in this array using its dictionary method to go, okay, where's train 20 going? And it will reply with, train 20 needs to go to station 4. Let's get out of the map mode and let's set this up. So it's actually easiest if I look over here. So we've got our memory, we've got, this is the index that writes data. Yep, okay, easy enough. So we set that up. Good, it's not going to overwrite that. And there. So on this side, we'll have our index, and our index will use the signal A. Why not? A is... Will I index it from 0 or from -1? Let's index it from -1. Just so that we don't accidentally write data that we're not intending to write. So each of these A-1, output A. Yeah, the red line can just connect straight to there, that's fine. Until you run out of red wire. Green wire connects down. Each of these, when A is 0, output everything's input count. Here are our memory cells, so they work when red is 0. Output your input count. Green connecting down and red connecting to there. And this is where it gets slightly different. Normally what we'd have on this line, on the output side, which could actually be moved across one, I believe. Yeah, it could. But that's fine, I'll keep it separate. Is we're going to say if our... Yeah, train at station, that's actually a really good signal. If that is 0, output our input count. Good. That can read on the green line, right on, input green, output red. So there, so we will write into this not only the final destination, we'll also be writing into it the train number as a negative value. So when this gets the train number as its positive value, one of these should hopefully become 0, and it will output where that train's final destination is. It is actually 50 minutes into this episode, so I think I'm going to stop here. And so next episode we'll be connecting the destination to here. We'll be connecting the supplier to this, basically a circuit over here that will check is there a train to send, and we'll tell it when it's sent a train. And once it's sent a train, what it will do is it will remove that from the top line and get ready to send off the next train. And I'll probably have a counter that'll basically a timer, because this takes what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It takes about 10 ticks to propagate through. So we'll have another time that's like, okay, after we've changed these values, wait 10 ticks, and then we're ready to, process the new values. But yes, that's our 2 FIFO setup. That's our circuit to control the 2 FIFOs. Our dictionary to store where their second destination is, because their first destination is just here somewhere, so we don't need to actually store that. And that's everything we need for that. So until tomorrow, have a good day. Jack B1024 signing off.